Hi, welcome. Good to have you here. My name is Jose, and the reason I invited you here today is to talk to you about bullying, right? We're all pretty familiar with what bullying is, and it's a big problem, right? Um, we hear many incidences of bullying, right? Uh, as a society, we have done more to tackle bullying than ever before in the past, right? And today, I also want to talk about. I want to also talk about that, right? Um, you know, what are the effects, right? What have been the effects of the measures that society has taken, right, to stop bullying? Okay. So, but first, I would like to define, right? To define bullying, right? I mean, we all know what bullying is, but have we ever thought about in a defining way what is bullying, right? So let's do that now. Bullying, right, is when a person is being hurt by another person, right, on purpose, right, with words or actions, right, or both. And bullying has a purpose, right? And that purpose is to intimidate and humiliate the victim, right? And so, what makes this possible? Well, a power difference, right? There's a power difference between the bully and the victim, right? Um, I mean, we're all familiar, right? The bully is usually physically stronger, uh, and but there's also something else. The victim lacks assertiveness, right? Doesn't have the assertiveness, right, to stand up to the bully, right? So they are powerless, right, or they feel powerless, right, to stop the bully's attacks. Okay, so this is who the bully targets, right? They target someone who lacks that assertiveness, right? That lack of assertiveness, what it does, it encourages the bully, right? It motivates the bully to bully even more, right? So when the victim responds with fear and intimidation and humiliation, that's like fuel for the bully to continue, right? And to continue targeting uh, the victim, right? That same person, right? Now, this bullying that I'm talking about, right? So far, right, is physical bullying is out in the open, right? Other kids can see it and things like that. But there's another type of bullying, right, that is not so easily seen, right? Because it is usually hidden. And the reason it's hidden is because it happens between friends, okay? This is called relational bullying, right? Um, it happens between friends, right? People that uh, relate to each other in some way, right? So this includes, I'm sorry, excuse me, exclusion, right? An individual is excluded, right, from activities by friends, right, by a group of friends, right, by a social circle. They are excluded, right? Um, there's also there could be spreading gossips and rumors, right? The silent treatment, eye rolling, right? like I said, in withdrawing friendships or threatening to withdraw a friendship, right? Or threatening to reveal secrets, right? They have secrets that they know about one another. There could also be the threat of revealing secrets, right? Um, like one might have a crush on somebody else and they might threaten to reveal that, okay? So that is relational bullying, right? It's not easily seen, but it's definitely no less harmful, right, than the type of bullying that we see, right? So it's pretty bad, right? Pretty impactful, right, on the victim. Okay. So so what, how does bullying develop, right? How does it develop, right? You know, where where does it come from, right? Well, studies, many studies have shown that bullying is linked to the home environment. Okay, so what happens at home, what the children see at home, right? If they see any type of violence, domestic violence, or if they are themselves abused, right? This is a major factor, right? It's a major contributing factor to becoming a bully, right? So, out of the 683,000 children, right, in the United States, right, who suffer from child abuse, right, out of those, um, some, right, become withdrawn, right, away from society, right? They become sullen, right, and depressed and withdraw, right? While others, right, become aggressive, right, as a result of the great frustration that they feel, for being abused by those that were supposed to protect them, love them, right? They feel frustration, right, and desolation, right? And instead of withdrawing, they become aggressive, right? And they turn basically into the same people they fear most, right? Their own abusers. They become like their own abusers, right? Like, now I told you there was some evidence, right? Well, one study, right, that was conducted by researchers, right, from the University of Washington and Indiana University. And I will leave you links, right, to all this information. You can see it for yourself. So that study showed that children who are exposed to any type of violence at home show a lack of coping mechanisms, right? They have difficulty coping, right, with their emotions, with stress, right? And they also engage in higher levels of physical and emotional bullying. So there is uh, a connection there, right? There is a connection between the home, right? Uh, Seeing violence at home, being abused, and becoming a bully, right? And this is compared, right, to children who have who have uh, grown up in a more stable home, right? Children that grew up in a more stable home, more loving home, did not show this lack of coping mechanisms, right? So this was seen only on the children who experience abuse. Okay, um, so it's very important. What happens at home is going to affect the child, right? It will affect the child, and it will also affect those that the child comes into contact with, right? Starting in school, right? Now, So let's look at that, right? How is bullying, develop? When is it first seen, right? What are the first signs, right, that a child is starting to bully? Okay, so in schools, right, you can see that children as young as 2 to 4 years old, right, um, can begin to use aggression and bullying, right? And the main reason they do it at this time, right, is to protect their things, right, their territory, and their friends, right? So they're starting to use aggressive and bullying behavior. As young as two, right? From 2 to 4 years old, right? So once a child is a little older, right, 4 to 6 years old, right? She or he starts using aggressive and bullying behavior with an intent, right? This time there's an intent, okay? And that intent is to threaten and intimidate other children, all right? So as you can see, the bullying progresses, right? First is to protect my things, my territory, my friends, and then it starts progressing to intent to intimidate, right? Another child. All right? Okay? Um Now, while the, when the bully is threatening and intimidating the other child, right? They may even come to enjoy it. They come to enjoy the submissive response, right? So the bully comes to enjoy the submissive response in the targeted child, okay? By taking pleasure, right, in seeing the victim cry and suffer, all right? So once they start taking pleasure in it, this is when bullying progresses, right, to more aggressive forms and become more persistent, right? The bully will target the child more and more and more as it sees the reaction, right? It sees the reaction, right? So when I look at that, right, I see that the bully lacks power, right? At home, there's no power. They feel powerless, right? When a child is being abused, they feel powerless, right? To stop it. When they see violence at home, they also feel powerless to stop it, right? So when once they see this effect that they have on their victim, they feel a sense of power, right? They feel a sense of power, right? And in a sad way, this is the power that they were looking for, right? But what's bad about that is that it's hurting somebody else, right? Um, and and the reason why they don't have empathy, right? One reason they don't have empathy, right, for the child that's crying and suffering is that nobody had empathy for them, right, at home, right? Nobody had empathy for them uh, when they're suffering at home, right? So they lack the empathy uh, for the victim, right? Because they see the victim like they see themselves, right? They see a reflection of themselves in the victim, right? And since they feel that they don't deserve empathy or sympathy, they feel the victim would does not deserve it as well, right? So it's very very troubled thinking, right, to say the least. Okay, so now that we dug a little bit, right, into bullying and what brings it about, what have we done as a society? Okay, well, in all 50 US states, right, are required, right, okay, to have a bullying prevention policy. Okay, so all 50 US states have that bullying prevention policy. Okay, however, it has not decreased. Bullying has not decreased, right? In fact, it has slightly increased, right? So it's not having the impact that we were hoping for. Okay, so many studies have been done, right? Dozens of studies, right, have revealed that most programs in the United States are designed to prevent bullying by using punishments, right, and implementing a zero tolerance policy, right? Punishment or zero tolerance policy, right? Okay, which go hand in hand, right? Punishment and zero tolerance. They both go hand in hand, right? So, but these programs, right? These types of programs have shown to be ineffective. And they also disproportionately affect children of color. All right? Now, so for example, there's a program called peer mediation, right? This program, peer mediation, right, places the responsibility on the victim, right, to work it out, right, with the bully, right? And what this can do is it can actually increase bullying. So, like, when adult victims, right, and these are adults, right, they're never required. Adult victims are never required to work things out with their abusers, right? So if an adult is not required, right, a child should be even less required because children are even more vulnerable, right? So this is you know, I mean, you could imagine, right? I think you can imagine, right? That children, uh, they also have a additional legal rights, right, to be protected, right? Simply because they're children, right? Now, another approach that we have tried is bystander intervention, right? Intervene, right? If you see bullying, step in, right? Do something, right? Well, uh, this works for only for certain people, right? Such as those that have higher social status, right? Uh, like they might be more popular in school, they might have more influence, right? Um, Moral engagement, right? People that are more morally engaged, right? They they see that bullying is wrong and they're willing to step up and do something, right? Or extroverts, right? Someone that's an extrovert, right? And they are they're more outspoken, so they're willing to step in also and say something. But though, you know not everyone has those types of character traits, right? Everybody's an individual, everybody's different. And so that works only for some people, right? Stepping in, okay? Now, the programs that teachers use, right? When it comes to that, many programs that teachers use, right, to prevent bullying have not been assessed by research, right? The only reason the teachers chose these programs, right, is because they are already being used, right, by other teachers, right, by their peers. Okay, so now again, right, research, right, and again, I'm going to leave you the links, right, so you could look at it for yourself, right? But research has found two approaches that have shown the most promise, okay, for reducing bullying, all right, as well as other forms of conflict and aggression in our schools, all right. So what are these two programs? Well, we have one called Positive School Climate, okay, and the second one is Social and Emotional Learning, all right. So what is positive school climate, right? Well, it involves improving the entire school environment, right? By making it more humane, a more humane place, right, for all children, okay? Um, it is the heart and the soul of a school, okay? Which can come from a greeting, right? The way you say hello, to the way a problem is solved, okay? And how people work together, right? It's quality, quality and character, all right, of a school, okay? So schools that have a positive climate, right, promote healthy development, okay? All right? Promote healthy development, okay? Now, on the other hand, schools with a negative school climate, right, result in higher incidences of bullying, aggression, and feeling unsafe. All right? Okay? So there is a distinct difference, very distinct. Okay? Um, so now, one aspect, right? One aspect of positive school climate known as social norm engineering, right? It's a self-reinforcing, conscious process that creates a positive culture among the students and the teachers, right? So the students are um, enjoying this positive culture, right? Thriving in this positive culture among themselves and with their teachers. Okay? So you could compare it to a healthy immune system, right? A healthy immune system, right, promotes good, optimal health and well being, right? So a positive school climate promotes optimal psychological, emotional health, optimal learning, right? And teachers are it also teaches our students, right, how to live good and well with each other, right? It's very, very important, obviously, right? Um, so, important elements, right, of a positive school climate, right, include norms about feelings, right? Relationships, okay? Power, and how to express that power, right? And also the use of social media, right? They also help the children make the most, right? And be careful, right? Avoid the pitfalls of social media. Okay. All right. So that is positive school climate, right? Now the second approach is known as social and emotional learning. All right. And this approach, okay, includes learning skills of self-awareness, right? And social awareness, right? Being aware of yourself, being aware of others, right? In a good way, right? In a positive way. It also includes self-management, okay? How to manage your emotions, right? Your feelings, right? Responsible decision making and relationship management, right? Also very important, right? Learning how to navigate, right? Relationships and the ups and downs and the unpredictabilities of relationships. How to how to manage that, right? Very important. Okay. So now, though other studies done, right? One, right? Hundreds of thousands of students, right, in this study from kindergarten through age 12, right? Um, show show an improvement, right? With social and emotional learning, right? They show an improvement, right, in their emotional well-being, self-regulation, classroom relationships, as well as promoting kind and helpful behavior among students. So all these improved, right? With hundreds of thousands of students, right, that were studied, right? And they were introduced to social and emotional learning. So this is absolutely great that all these great things, right, were improved, right? And anxiety and depression and emotional distress were reduced, okay? As well as disruptive behavior like conflicts, aggression, bullying, anger, hostile bias, right? All that was reduced, right? In these hundreds of thousands of students from kindergarten through 12th grade, okay? Also, academic performance improved along with creativity and leadership. So, and the benefits, right? The benefits that they receive, right, continue throughout their lives, right? It wasn't just beneficial for their school, right? For their school years, right? It extended throughout many years throughout their lives, right? So now when we talk about investment, right? Um, Now this is very cost effective. For every dollar spent, right? For every dollar spent, $11 are saved. All right. So that says it very clearly that this is very cost effective, very worth it. And of course, there are the things that you cannot put a dollar amount on, right? Is the child's well-being. You know, can calculate that with a dollar amount. Okay. Um, so now, as for the teachers, right? With emotional and social skills training, their job satisfaction increased, right? There was less burnout, right? There were more positive emotions, right? With the children, okay? And better classroom management, among other great things, okay? So you could see that teachers being benefited, right, as well, okay? So since children have different abilities, right? Children at different stages of their lives, right, have different abilities and needs, right? So the social and emotional learning approach should be age appropriate, right? It should be specific for the age of the child, right? Where is the child on, on, on his or her development, right? So another thing, right, when we talk about the school climate, right, it makes a great difference, right, whether bullying is minimized or taken seriously, right? As the harmful peer abuse that it is. Okay? So, for example, are school leaders aware that bullying has serious, lifelong negative consequences on the victims, the bystanders, and even the bullies themselves? Are they aware of this? Right? Is the school committed to the psychological well-being of all students, or are they relying on punishing measures to stop bullying? Are educators sympathetic to their students? And do they see their feelings as important? These are very important questions. Now, it's very important that teachers be willing and ready to deal with bullying behavior. Okay? Students regularly report that teachers fail to spot the majority of bullying. Okay? They fail to spot, right, the majority of bullying incidents and don't help students who ask for help. Okay, so this um is clearly, right, it's clearly a big gap, right? If you want to stop bullying, this is a weak link, right? If teachers are not spotting the bullying behavior, and if teachers are not proactive, right, doing something about it, right, not helping the students, this is definitely a weak link in when it comes to stopping bullying, right? Now, there are even teachers themselves, right, who bully students, right? Okay, or lack empathy for the students who are being bullied. All right, so this is definitely something that definitely needs to be addressed, right? Uh, uh, when teachers go to college, I think that nowadays, right, because we're living in a different world, in a new society, I think that has to be part of the curriculum of what they're learning, right, when they become teachers. I think they have to be trained, and uh, and these two approaches will be excellent in doing that. Um, so speaking of that, right, teachers also report lack of training, right, and they resort to whatever tactics they learned while they were growing up. Okay, now, okay, so remember, an abusive and disrespectful home environment, right, is a big factor, a big contributing factor, um, you know, for a child to become a bully, right? So parents have a huge role in stop when it comes to stopping bullying, right? When it comes to stopping bullying behavior, parents have a big important role. Okay, and in some of my other videos, um, I have a video how to stop child abuse. Okay, um, now, so remember I told you earlier that bullying goes beyond the schools. Yeah, it extends far from the school playground. Okay, it's also seen among adults in the workplace, right? And it happens at the same rate. Okay, um, you know, I thought that, you know, adults, know better, right? That's what I thought, that adults know better. Well, when it comes to bullying, not so much, right? Because bullying occurs at the same rate at work, among adults as it does in school. Okay? So, and it also happens between teachers, right? Even teachers bully each other. Okay? And are you ready for this? It even happens in senior living facilities, among seniors, senior citizens. Okay? So as you can see, it's a big problem, right? Um, it's not just the problems in schools, right? As bad as that is, but it's a societal problem, right? It's a problem in society, right? Affecting, right? Being perpetrated by by people and affecting people, right? It's being perpetrated by some people and affecting other people and affecting all of us, right? Affecting all of us, right? So, you know, yeah, it's definitely it's like the silent epidemic, right? It happens everywhere. It happens at work. It happens in school. It happens between teachers, even senior citizens, right? So maybe it's all of us, right? It's all of us that that excuse me, are either engaged in bullying or being bullied, right? Uh, so so even some children, right, from are targeted, right? Certain children with certain ethnic backgrounds are also targeted, right? Because of what's going on the national level, right? They see what's being spoken on a national level, right? Maybe disrespect towards a certain ethnic group. Children are seeing that, right? And children bullies are targeting children of a certain ethnic group, right? Because children see, right? They see and hear everything. Okay? So, what we need as a society, right? Well, we need a fundamental change in how we think about the importance of our children's feelings. We need a shift. We need to think differently, okay, about their feelings, right? We don't see feelings, right? We don't see them with our eyes, but they are very, very important because they affect everything. They affect everything we do. They affect how we interact with each other. They affect how we interact with with the world, with ourselves, with with the environment, how we treat the earth. Our feelings dictate everything. Okay, we don't see them with our eyes, but they're very, very powerful. Okay, very influential. Okay, so we need to change how we think about our children's feelings. We need to realize that they're very, very important. Okay, so when young people, right, our young people, they do best when we care for their humanity, right, and we give them the language, the skills, and values, right, to identify those feelings, to express those feelings, right, and regulate those feelings. Okay, so when us adults, right, because it has to start with us, right, it has to start with us, right? There's bullying in the workplace, okay, among adults, so it has to start with us, right? Also, when we gain a new understanding, right, of the complex roots of bullying, right, children can be better protected. Okay, because as a society, right, when we're better able to stop bullying and its devastating consequences on children in particular, right, and society in general, right? So when we better, knowledge is power. When we understand, you know, the causes, right, the roots of bullying, we're better able to stop it and its devastating effects on society. on us, on our children, on their future. Okay? So it starts with us. Okay? So uh, I would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on bullying? Have you been bullied before? Um, I know I was. There was a time where I was bullied. Uh, it happened when I was around 17, 18. I went to a jobs program. Um, and yeah, I was bullied there. Um, and so I know how it feels. Feel how helpless it feels. Uh, so were you bullied? Please share your experience. And what do you think about our discussion today? What do you think about these programs, right? Um, that I have discussed today? Um, and do you have any other ideas? Okay. What else you think could help stop bullying? Okay. So I would like to hear from you. All right. Okay. So very good, very good. So let me know if you found this topic important by liking the video. And so it was good to have you here. I hope you found this helpful. And you take care. You have yourself a great day. Take care.